G'day and welcome back to Desert Ran for Hope. Hopefully the Desert Bus guys are still driving, guys and gals are still driving at this time. And you've had the opportunity to check out the hilarity there. I am recording this several weeks in advance, so I don't really have a good way of doing that. Last time round we got to Vegas and back, and this time round we're literally stuck at the opening. Dope. Come on, we can do this. Just let me move the car. Thank you. Okay, got it. We got this. Last time around, we also ran into the slight problem of driving to Vegas and back with basically no stop leaves you really tired, and that is represented in the game by you literally falling asleep at the wheel. That is literally as dangerous as it sounds. We had a number of situations where we kind of woke up on the wrong side of the road, exactly where we fell asleep, but it's not particularly great. And as John Locole in the chat has pointed out, drowsy driving is more dangerous statistically than drunk driving. Unfortunately, it's much harder to test for. And so, make sure that if you are drowsy and you get in your car, have a nap, or at least try and do something different. Don't drive sleepy. No one wants an accident. Least of all you. That has been your PSA. And watch as I completely ignore that in this game, because games are not the same as real life. And so, really, what are you expecting? Also, apparently, I didn't start the recording, so I'm going to have to retrieve some of this from Twitch, hopefully. But otherwise, I will cobble together something. That's kind of frustrating. I really hope I didn't, that hasn't been the case all the way along, because I'm recording at a much higher quality than I've been streaming at for reasons that seem pretty obvious to me. But hey, whatever works. Fortunately, the benefit of streaming something as kind of a preview is that you also get the advantage of having a backup, albeit one at lower quality, and one where I can't mess with the sound as much. Because one of the things I'm really grateful for OBS for doing is the ability to record different microphones and sound sources in different tracks on the video. So basically I have two different microphones, and I have the game desktop. And so if something has gone terribly wrong with one microphone, I can still recover, and I can also adjust the sound balance after the fact. Which is good, because sometimes games are really loud. Well, let's get settled in for the nice long drive. There's certainly a lot more to the driving part of this game, but it's also not as much endurance based as Desert Bus is designed to be. I'm just gonna be flagrantly illegally passing that other truck and keep going. So for reference, if you've been watching along, I have not actually had a break. I have been playing this game for, at the moment it's just an hour and a half, but the plan is to play for about 2.5 hours. So by the end of that, it's going to be, if I don't have a break, it's going to be pretty difficult to just keep focused on what I'm saying and doing, which is kind of part of the goal. I'm also kind of impressed that I managed to soak my way through at least $13,000. I'm really glad that I cheated my way into a little bit more cash than that, because yeah, that's been pretty important. Am I going the right way? Yes, I think I am. Hopefully I'm not making any stupid mistakes because I'm kind of not tired, at least physically, but like this is repeating the same thing over and over again. LA, that is not what I wanted to see. I think I may have taken a wrong turn at Albuquerque. Let's just see. Maps. So I was meant to go that way. I've gone this way. So we're going to take a slight detour. And we're going to take the scenic route. Because that is a thing that can happen in this kind of setup. One of the frustrating things that's just happened is my chat has scrolled, and it shouldn't have, but there we go. Okay, great. So now I can still see messages that are coming in chat. Sweet. And you know, I really want to thank John Cole for having been here most of the stream, because it's really helpful to have someone to interact with in long car trips. It's actually, I really worried my partner at one point, relatively early in our relationship, because I was driving back from the coast up north, and it's a couple hour drive, right? And basically I needed something to engage with, and she was, I'm not sure that she was reading, or if she was reading, or if she was just you know, looking out the window and quite content, but the key part was we weren't talking about anything, and so I turned to her and I said, honey, we need to talk or I'm going to fall asleep. And we then promptly had a discussion around the use of the phrase, we need to talk, because it turns out that that has some connotations that are fairly obvious in retrospect, but weren't to me at the time. Like, they just didn't come to mind, and you know, caused a little bit of stress for something that was relatively inconsequential, because we actually did talk and then I didn't fall asleep. Nope, that's not the exit I was looking for. It's fine. Everything's fine. We'll just have a little bit of a detour. I can actually keep an eye on how sleepy I'm getting, so that's good. That said, I'm still going to do the drive to Vegas, drive back to Tucson without sleeping thing, because I want to. Yes, exactly. We need to talk. That is, you know, if you ever really want to worry your partner, then that is the phrase to use. In fact, it's not just romantic situations. You tell anyone, we need to talk, and that's the kind of phrase that will have you get worried. I mean, can you imagine your boss or your manager saying, we need to talk? I'm sorry, we need to talk. Can you come into my office? I'm afraid that we've been having some complaints about your incessant punning. So we're gonna need to give you an official warning. You know, your best friend comes up to you, we need to talk. That's the kind of thing that, it's not a phrase I really think anyone wants to hear. This scenic route is so scenic. Yep, definitely very scenic. Yep. I like how you can see the ETA tick up as we speed. Because, of course, the sat-nav... admittedly, actually, sorry, the ETA is ticking up because we're speeding away from where we're theoretically meant to be going in order to get somewhere completely different. Because the game still thinks that we are sensible people and attempting to actually deliver the goods we said we would deliver. I like how, in fact, now we're not speeding away from our destination. We've gone to a point where it's like, actually, no, you want to keep going. You're not going to make up any time by restarting at this point, so keep driving. But yeah, it still assumes that we are sensible people, and you know, it assumes that we're going to maintain the same kind of speed. I don't know why we seem to be slowing down, because I'm literally holding the accelerator as much as is physically possible, because it's a game controller and it's much more comfortable to just squeeze the trigger down than to actually drive like a sensible human being. It's actually like when I'm playing seriously, and I was kind of trying the game on a more serious level as I was getting things ready to do this stream, I find it's really uncomfortable to just partially hold down a trigger. Squeezing it is really straightforward, but just having your finger not exerting a small amount of pressure, but not all the pressure it can, well, not literally all the pressure it can, but more pressure than the resistance of the controller, I find really uncomfortable. In general, I'm not very comfortable with controllers, so that's probably part of it. And that's why in most games you see me playing on the channel, I'm not using a controller, I'm using the mouse and keyboard. Even when it comes to platformers and third-person games, most of them I am much more comfortable using a mouse and keyboard with. And I'm not terrible at them most of the time. But they don't really work for a couch, and in the case of a driving game, they don't work as well as a controller does. The key part is that a controller returns to center, a joystick returns to center, a mouse and keyboard doesn't. In fact, it doesn't really do, non-orthogonal directions, and that doesn't work very well. There is actually a really weird mouse control option in this game, which I did try using, in which you kind of, the mouse is mapped almost to a joystick, but it doesn't, like, it's just you move it left to right, and that's how it works. It doesn't work very well for me. What I find is it's very hard to go straight when you do that, and then it's really exhausting. It's really exhausting trying to make sure that the mouse is actually always close enough to the center that I'm not veering off the edge. Maybe it would have been a better choice for this, because it would more closely resemble the desert bus weirdness of that game, but I'm not sure it would. I'm certainly not keen to use that mode. I don't think I would have made it nearly as far as I have if I did. Wow! That was a bounce. I don't think that was very good for us. We do want to take this turn off to go to Las Vegas. Hey, Prim! That's right, because Prim is a real town that is mentioned in New Vegas. Because New Vegas is based on real, at least real-ish cities. So yeah, that's kind of neat. I have actually been to Las Vegas once. It was in 2008. It was weird, because at the time I basically didn't drink. I don't smoke. I don't gamble. I'm not actually really interested in learning. And so I visited a city that is devoted to vices I didn't have. These days I'll drink, so that would have worked out a little bit better. But I still, like, that's not really what I'm after as an experience. So the best part of the Vegas trip was actually the trip to the Grand Canyon. And that was really cool to see. Like, Grand Canyon is pretty freaking impressive, I gotta say. It's well named. I mean, I've also been to the Grand Canyon in the Southern Highlands in New South Wales. Definitely not the same kind of tourist attraction. Also pretty grand though. Not as grand. Probably why it's not as well known. But there's certainly a lot of stuff to like walk around and see and that kind of thing. Kind of want to go there again, like go to the Southern Highlands again. That's one of those things where right now I'm... we do actually go through Prim. I just want to look at the map. Yeah, alright, so we go through Prim and go straight up. Cool. Well, that's fine. But one of the things one of the things about planning a trip home, even though like the trip's already planned, there's no room in that trip to go to Bundanoon, which is the specific area in the Southern Highlands that I want to go to. I just, like, there's literally no way that can fit into the trip. But it's way more easy to get homesick. Now I'm thinking more about home. Who knew? So that's going to be interesting. I'm actually going to be working from the Sydney office of the company I work for, which it turns out has an office right... And in fact, when you're watching these videos, I'll be in Australia. I'll probably be at work. And that's right, actually, like, between a couple of places I worked previously in Sydney. And the way I will get there will almost certainly involve walking past my old high school. It's going to be really weird from a nostalgia point of view. Did want to go into Vegas because I wanted to get petrol, and hopefully this will help me do that. And then we can go back. And we totally won't fall asleep at the wheel on the way back. That is totally reasonable and totally what will happen. What won't happen. Whatever. You get what I'm saying. Okay. Vegas downtown. Come on. Things that show petrol stations. That's not a petrol station map. Can I actually take that exit? Yes, yes I can. Sweet. This is actually getting to see a lot more of Vegas than I thought I could. Oh man, how could I have not done this? Hey, what? Why? I don't know what just I ran into, whatever. But this is definitely more Vegas. That's sweet. I should have done this before. I wonder how up to date this is, because I think the Vegas Strip changes relatively frequently. Like, not completely. And I don't think we're actually at the main strip. Yeah, there's the Paris Eiffel Tower. Where's the Luxor? That's the Roman themed one over there. Okay, so I think what we're just crossing is the main strip now. Not sure. It seemed to be like, I think, too few cars for Vegas right now. Oh yeah, we're also speeding massively. Casino with blackjack. Imagine that. Imagine if they had something else like, I don't know, Dota 2 gambling advertised. I don't think you go to a casino for that. Nope. Everything's fine. I'm totally legit and not unreasonable having done this. Okay. Hey, I think we made it to the exact same petrol station as we used previously. Yep, we did. There we go. Petrol time. Oh yeah. Fueling up at the nice expensive petrol station in Vegas. $200 worth of diesel. Probably should have looked. On the other hand, we're totally about to start what is likely to be our last trip to Tucson. Hey, rude, buddy, I was turning there. Couldn't you see? You blind, mate? Seriously, you're lucky that damage is purely numerical in this game and not actually like dings and things. Because that is way beyond the capability of this simulation. Does this do anything? Nah, not really. Why would they let me through anyway? Alrighty, let's keep going. I wonder how well the Desert Bus Charity Marathon's doing at this point. I mean, I literally have no way to check because I'm recording this like a few weeks in advance, and so hopefully they have continued to break records because that's always nice. And this is their 10th year. They have literally, like, they're the original video game charity marathon, and they have been going for 10 years, and that is pretty cool in its own right. Well, once I got the red light, fine, I might as well just keep driving. Whatever. It's all good. It's all good. Grand Canyon Village, or Page. Yeah. You guys go? I'm just gonna keep going around this corner. I realized I was turning right from the right-hand lane, which seems wrong. Turning left from the right-hand lane, which seems wrong. Right from the right-hand lane actually seems pretty sensible to me. So yeah, you know, my bad, but whatever. Need to get back to Tucson before I fall asleep, and given that I'm pretty tired right now, that may not be the best plan. But I said I would sleep in Tucson, and so thus far I've stuck to it, so that's what we're gonna do, man. I think we will be able to get back to Tucson and back to Vegas one more time before the end of this series. But we will see. I don't think we'll make the full trip, but it depends. Maybe if I make fewer mistakes, everything will work out better. Especially if I speed the whole way, because that's not a mistake. That is a legitimate strategy. Not that I should have lost my license ages ago with the number of speeding tickets I've gotten. Because, you know, who gives a crap about speeding? It's only money. Alrighty, back in Arizona. Yeah, I mean, feel that is way closer to the border than it is in real life. It does bring back memories though, because that trip, like, we went from Las Vegas to the Grand Canyon, which involved going via the Hoover Dam, and I was traveling with a Mac laptop that decided to have its hard drive die partway through the trip, and I was like, well, the Windows partition works, but and I've got drivers that allow me to read from the Mac one. This was before the days of full boot camp drivers, I think? I can't remember, actually. Anyway, like, I did have the ability to read the Mac hard drive. No, like, that's right, boot camp doesn't actually give you drivers to read HFS Plus. Or at least it didn't at the time. So I had a different third-party driver that allowed me to read HFS Plus. And basically, I was actually able to get up my files as long as I knew the paths to them. So I spent a lot of time moving files while sitting on that bus. I mean, I probably should have been looking out the window more and talking to people more, but I'm actually pretty bad at just sitting and looking out the window. I really am much happier when I've also got some bit of entertainment to bounce off. So I did that, and so I spent a bunch of that trip basically moving the files that I wanted from the Mac partition to the Windows partition. And then later on in the trip, when I got to LA, I went to a Mac store and bought a copy of the latest version of OS X at the time, because I didn't have it and I hadn't wanted to spend the money on it, because that actually gave me the ability to reinstall OS X, because HFS Plus for me has been the least reliable of the drive formats I've used, which I realize doesn't gel with everyone's experiences, but it fucked up 2 of my drives. So I'm definitely not inclined to use it in future. But, your mileage may vary. Alright, with that thrilling technical tale told, I'm going to leave you guys. Next time, we will continue our road trip back to Tucson. Thus far, we've managed to get there and back without completely destroying the car once. So, in fact, in Desert Bus parlance, we would arguably have 3 points, although we slept. So, I'm not entirely sure how that would work, because I don't really have a good analog. So, yeah, we'll see you next time.